If you want a Facebook ad campaign that prints profits, but you're scared of wasting money or overwhelmed by the tech, this video is for you. I've been running ads since 2009 and have spent over $50 million of my own money, not clients' budgets, not as an agency, just me building my own businesses. I even lost my first $500 on ads, but I kept going and turned that into 5 different $1 million plus businesses, including SamCart, which is now valued at over $300 million. And after seeing ad data from over 20,000 online sellers, I can say this with total confidence. 99% of ad advice out there is useless. What works is stupid simple. And in this video, I'll show you the exact setup that I use to scale 100 times faster than any agency ever could. Let's jump in. Okay, so number one, when it comes to this super simple setup on Facebook that I promise you works better than anything any Facebook ad agency out there or guru is telling you, the stupid simple setup that I use every single time is 1 campaign, 1 ad set, and 5 ads. That's it. You do not need more than 1 campaign, and you don't need 15, 20 different ads in your actual campaign. Before anyone in the comments says, this is horseshit, this is not the way this works, I'll show you my exact ad account where we've taken it from little tiny budgets of $5, $10 a day, all the way up to $50,000 to $60,000 a day, over break even, campaigns that are extremely profitable with literally 1 campaign, 1 ad set, and just a handful of ads. So here's why that is better. When you create multiple campaigns or dozens of ad sets and you have hundreds of ads, you're taking your budget, because you as a business owner, you have one budget. You don't have 15 different budgets. You have one amount of money that you're thinking, whether it's $10 a day, $100 a day, $1,000 a day. You want to put all of that money behind as few things as possible so that Facebook has the ability to optimize and use as much money to learn as fast as possible. That's why you want to keep things simple. As soon as you have 5, 6 different campaigns, 5, 6 different ad sets inside of those campaigns, now that campaign's only going to get a couple dollars if your budget is $10, $20 a day. Like, that's not enough to learn. You won't even make a sale in each one of those. You want every single ad set to have multiple sales a day. 15 different campaigns with 20 ad sets in each one. That's dozens or hundreds of ad sets. There's no way, if you don't have a lot of money to spend, that those ad sets are going to get enough money to spend to actually learn anything. Set up 1 campaign, 1 ad set, and just a handful of ads. It only works if you do step number 2, which is set up tracking for purchases only. SamCart does this by default for you. You can literally click 1 button and your pixel is set up, your conversion API is set up. If you don't know what that is, don't even worry about it. Just use SamCart, set it up, and you want to send every purchase back to Facebook. When you send your purchases back to Facebook, what that does is it tells Facebook, hey, this is what this advertiser wants. It wants people that actually buy things. So I'm going to give it people that buy things. And it's going to wait to get information from you, from your website, from your shopping cart or e-commerce platform. And it's going to use that and say, okay, these look like 5 or 6 people that bought this product. I'm going to go find more of these people. If you're not sending that information back to Facebook, it has no idea who to send you. That's number 1. Number 2, if you optimize for anything other than purchases, you are not going to make any money, period. I have done this 100+ times where you try to optimize for leads or webinar registrants or landing page views or impressions or video views. And if you optimize for those things and you make that your goal of your campaign, Facebook is just going to send you a bunch of people that watch videos or people that opt into things and don't buy. It's going to send you a lot of broke people or people that don't take action and actually buy your product. Most likely, if you're watching this video, you want ads that actually turn into revenue. And if that's the case, then you need to set up your shopping cart to tell Facebook that every time somebody buys, and then you need to tell Facebook you want people that buy, period. If you do that, this simple setup of 1 campaign, 1 ad set, 4 or 5 different ads will work like a charm every time. Step number 3 is very minimal targeting. We now at SamCart and Creator U and Typeset, the 3 different businesses that we run that do tens of millions of dollars a year. These businesses are worth hundreds of millions, and we spend over $1 million a month in most months. We've gone as high as $2 million a month. We turn all targeting off, like literally all targeting off. Why? Because if you're sending Facebook information, if you're pinging them every time you make a purchase and you're telling them you want more people to do that, Facebook knows how to go find people. It knows the language of your website. It will not run ads in other countries for the most part. It will not run ads to teenagers who aren't going to buy what you're selling. If your product appeals to women in their 60s, it's going to see that every time you tell it who's buying, it's a woman in their 60s who lives in these cities, who likes these things, who reads these books, and it's going to find you more of those people. So what I usually recommend is not no targeting at all right off the bat for someone who's just starting out. I usually recommend for you to make a list of what locations, like what countries do you think your customers most likely come from. If you're just selling in the US, just market to the US. So what countries, what age, and what gender. So if you sell a woman's weight loss supplement that really is for women that are, over 50 and it's in the US, then go in, one campaign, one ad set, a handful of ads, set up your tracking. Again, with SamCart, it's literally a one-click setup, and then go in and make sure you're just limiting it to just the US and to women that are above 50 or 60, whatever your age range is. That's it. After you do that, don't do anything else. Lookalike audiences, interests, any of this other stuff, in my opinion, is a total waste of time, and you're trying to outsmart Facebook. Facebook will know as soon as you get it 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8 different sales, it's going to learn from those people, run it through their algorithm, and find you anywhere those people are. If you try to micromanage Facebook and say just people in this lookalike or just people in this, demographic or that like these things, what about the people who might actually buy from you that don't like those things? You're going to miss out on a bunch of people. So keep the targeting very simple. Location, age, and gender. Step number 4 is an easy one. You turn the ad campaign on. That's it. You let it run. You keep your budget low, whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with spending more, I typically err on the side of spending more. Why? Because I want Facebook to learn as fast as possible. No matter what you're selling, it's probably going to take Facebook $50 to $100, maybe sometimes hundreds of dollars to learn and optimize. So I usually ignore the results in that first day or two, or at least for that first couple $100. And I'm going to just sit and wait and let Facebook gather as much information as possible. And then once it spends that much money, then I'm going to start looking at it and evaluating whether or not it is working. So step number 5 and 6 are what stats you should watch and which stats you should not watch. If we start with the not watch, if you're running Facebook ads, you should never look, never care about, and never even know what your click-through rate is, your CPC, your frequency, or any of these other things that Facebook ad nerds like to pretend are actually important. Again, we spend $50,000 to $60,000 a day on Facebook, and I do not know what those things are. And frankly, I just don't care. They don't matter. The only thing you should watch is how much does it cost you to get someone to buy. If your goal in your ad campaign is purchases, then Facebook does the math for you. Right, the very first column is usually the cost per purchase. So it's going to tell you, is your cost per purchase $40? Is it $80? Is it $400? That's the only metric that matters. From there, you can basically calculate what your ROAS is. If you know your product costs $100 and it costs you $50 to get a customer, then your ROAS is 200%. You're spending $50 to make $100. It's pretty darn easy. Once you get your eyes focused on the only metric that matters, which is the cost per purchase, my next kind of piece of advice is for you to scale fast. This, again, is something that goes against what most people on YouTube or in courses or anywhere else like to talk about. They want to tell you to scale slow, increase budget by 5, 10, maybe 15% a day, and let the algorithm have time to do all these things. That is the worst advice I think anyone could ever give anyone when it comes to running Facebook ads. My default is if my CPA is really low, really good, and I'm making more than 2 to 1 on my ad spend. So if my product is 100 and I'm spending $50 to get a customer, that's 2 to 1. If I'm making 200%, usually even as low as 150%, if I have a good cushion there, I'm going to double ad spend practically every 4 hours. That's how aggressive I will get. Because what I found is every time you change the budget at all, Facebook goes back into this learning phase. And if you stay aggressive, or if you stay really conservative, Facebook doesn't care. You changed everything up, it's gonna go back and relearn everything. So why would you wanna take longer to scale up and get more customers, grow your business, make more money? You wouldn't, no entrepreneur would. If you could just go from $100 a day to $1,000 to $10,000 all in a single day, you would never prefer that taking a month. You would rather do it in a day, right? And this is exactly what we did our Creator U brand when we first launched it. That one worked like crazy right out of the gate. I think I started at $250 a day. It was crushing in that first 4 hours. I went to 500, and in the same day went from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000, went all the way around over 36 hours to over $50,000 a day. In less than 2 days, took a campaign that I was not ready to spend that much, but it was working that well, from $250 a day to $50,000 a day. And it did not break the system. Yes, it might have taken an hour for it to learn, but when you ramp up spend that much, Facebook knows, okay, this person's aggressive. I'm going to give it good traffic and I'm going to learn as fast as humanly possible. And it's going to go do that. So the last point that I will make is the one thing that you need to understand. We talked about the only metric inside of Facebook that you need to know is your CPA or your CAC. There's only 2 other numbers that you need to know, but you're not going to find them in Facebook. And it's your day 1 average order value, which basically just means how much money do you make every time you sell one of your products. And the biggest mistake that businesses make, that when they complain that Facebook isn't working, is they just assume, or they're happy with, their day 1 average order value being the price of their product. So if someone is selling, this mouse for $100, and I ask them, hey, how much do you make every time somebody buys? They would say, well, when someone buys this, the price is $100, so I make $100. And I immediately ask them, well, are you trying to sell that customer anything else? Do you have any upsells? Do you have any other things they can add into their cart before they check out, or offers you make after they check out? Usually the answer is no. And if the answer for you is no, you need to fix that as soon as humanly possible. If you sell something, anything, digital product, a service, a coaching program, a course, anything at all, and your product price is fill in the blank. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be 50, it could be 100. You should probably be making 3 to 5, maybe 10 times more than that immediately on day 1, because it's very easy to get people to add other things into their cart if you know how to do it well and you have a piece of software that does it for you automatically. Another thing that SamCart does for you, built right in, it's probably the best solution out there for maximizing, we call it average order value, which just means every time you get a customer that buys this product, on average, you get them to add a whole bunch of other things into their cart, and you make 4 to 5 times what you would normally be making if you were only selling this. That number, average order value, or another way to say it is the day 1 value of your customer. At the end of the day, when you get that customer for the first time, what are they worth? That's the other number you have to know like the back of your hand. You should memorize it. You should be able to say it any place, anytime to anyone. The other number you should know is your CAC or CPA, just cost to acquire your customer or cost per purchase or per action. You know those 2 numbers and you'll be extremely dangerous. The third number is the LTV of your customer. So if we talked about, if you have this product for $100, let's say you get them to add in, an extra charger, an extra battery, a mouse pad. Now that customer's worth $200, and every customer on average adds about an extra $100 in. So you have a $200 average order value, AOV. The other number, LTV, over time is, well, okay, you got somebody to spend $200 every time they buy a mouse. Now, what's the value of that customer on day 2 or day 7 or day 15 or day 30? You should be consistently getting them to buy other things, sending them promotions for other products they don't have, sending them emails and texts or retargeting ads. And you should be driving up the value of that customer over time. Remember, just acquiring the customer, that's step number 1. Like, your job is not done. Your job is to continue to make that customer worth more every single day that goes on for the rest of time, until they unsubscribe from your list or stop paying attention, or they bought everything that you have to offer. Knowing this math equation, those 3 things, what does it take to acquire someone on day 1? How much does it cost? That's your CAC or your CPA. How much do they spend on day 1? And then how much do they spend over time? And the key benchmarks for me are usually day 7 and day 14. If you know those things, that tells you exactly how much you can spend on Facebook, or for any paid ad for that matter. If you know you can spend $50 to get a customer and they're worth $40 on day 1, most people would say, why would I spend ads on that? I'm losing $10 every time I got a customer. But if you dive in and you find out those customers actually, a bunch of them buy a whole bunch of other stuff on day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and by day 7, they're worth $200, then you're actually spending $50 to acquire a customer that spends $40 on day 1, but $200 by day 7 or 14 or day 30. That's a ton of profit. You would actually run that campaign into the ground. You would turn up your ad budget like crazy because you're actually losing money by not spending more. But you would never know this, and most people never know these numbers because they don't know what their average order value is, and they definitely don't know what their lifetime value on day 7 or day 14 or day 30 is. Almost no software out there will actually tell you, yet again, another thing that SamCart has built right in. It tells you what your customers are worth on day 1 and what they're worth over time at those key milestones. Day 1, day 7, day 14, day 30, day 60, and then lifetime. So you know, they should be continuing. We have customers that are 11 years old and their lifetime value is continuing, it grows every single month for us. Those are things you have to know if you want to get good at paid ads, because you will never know how much you can or should spend if you don't have these things figured out. So that's it. That is the super simple campaign setup in Facebook. One campaign, one ad set, a handful of ads, the couple settings that I walked over. You do that and almost anybody can run a Facebook ad. You don't need an agency. Most agencies out there, and there are a few good ones that really know their stuff, that create great creative, that know how to tweak a funnel to make it work. But most of them out there will pretend that these things are important, that you need 15 different campaigns, 20 ad sets in each one, 100 ads in each ad set, and you need this massive setup with super specific targeting, all these different budgeting, or bidding techniques. You need to scale slowly. And personally, maybe this is a negative way to look at it, but I think they do that to make it sound like they're doing all this work for you. If it were me and I was an agency, I would just tell people straight up, look, this is going to be super simple, but I'm going to be in here looking at it every single day, every few hours. And that's how I would sell my services. So if you actually have an agency that's in there and you're paying them 5, 6, 10 grand a month to run your ads for you, and you see them with this super complicated setup, in my opinion, you should go to them and say, you need to simplify all this down. And personally, I'd be willing to continue to pay them. Like, I don't mind. I just want the results. As a business owner, you probably just want the results. You just want to be able to spend, $100 a day or $1,000 a day or $10,000 a day and get your return on that investment and get the most efficient traffic that you can to your site. So keep things simple. Best case scenario, now you realize you can actually run these ads by yourself. Truthfully, you probably don't need a whole team to do it. If you keep things simple, and it should just work better for you. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below.